What's good, Shadow Gang? Welcome back to another video. If y'all new here, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, follow me on my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, on my socials. And yeah, let's get right into it, man. We gonna react to a video by who is this by? Wrestling Bits, Pro Wrestling Bits. It's my first time reacting to a video of his. And we're gonna react to the AEW top star who refuses to evolve. Talking about MJF. Um, if you guys don't know, for those of y'all that don't, some of y'all do. I'm not the biggest MJF fan. I just don't like his his character. I feel like I've seen it too many times in wrestling. You know, the typical bad guy. You know, suit wearing, rich, all this blah 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 bullshit. And of course, what I will say, what gives him a little bit of a different thing is that in AEW, you can say wild shit and do wild shit. That's what I would say. But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna react to what this dude got to say about MJF, and yeah, let's see if I agree with it or what he really thinks. So let's go.
MJF returned to Dynamite like only he could. Custom suit, Burberry scarf. MJF returned to Dynamite like only he could. Custom suit, Burberry scarf, Dynamite diamond ring, and WWE reference.
Also, I am recording this right like 24 hours after he won the AEW championship.
Like only he could. Because since 2019, that's all he's ever done. MJF is like if a groundhog could grapple. He's a great worker in that he does more with less. In fact, MJF was at his hottest in 2022 when he only wrestled 8 matches. But the longer MJF hangs around, the more it becomes patently obvious how repetitive his act is. Maxwell Jacob Friedman has rinsed, washed, and repeated the same shtick for years. To MJF's credit, he's still over. But AEW is not. It can be argued that MJF is AEW's biggest star. Max considers himself the most famous person not to wrestle in WWE because even in shoot promos, MJF is out here making WWE references. AEW ratings have stagnated, and now they're in a full-on free fall in the big data era. If your biggest star keeps playing the same character year after year, fans will get tired of it. Just ask Hulk Hogan in the 90s. Or MJF now. MJF hitting a plateau will burn out the territory, and the more he commits to the same character in Jacksonville, the louder the demand for him to change scenery in Stamford. And I think that's exactly what he wants. Subscribe in Swahili. And that's because I am the best. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Well, John Cena. WrestleMania. Paul Levesque.
MJF had a whole promo like that against Punk.
Vince McMahon. John Laurinaitis. MJF's comeback promo was a great sight to see. He looked like MJF. He talked like MJF. He even recycled the same material just like MJF.
Yep.
As AEW enters its 7th year, a lot has changed, but MJF remains the same. He's your garden variety, spoiled, cocky heel with a silver tongue. Mordecai is the Hebrew name for Max, and MJF is basically Mordecai Cornett. Max has always stood out in AEW, where everybody just wrestles for no reason and half the roster needs a manager to talk for them. Even some of the managers struggle with their promos, like Ricochet. That's why MJF has gotten away with resting on his laurels for so long. The best promos in AEW famously dressed Max down for his redundancy. Those guys were CM Punk and Ricky Starks, who have both left the territory and won titles. MJF is a generational talent, so it's not like he'll ever stop being over, especially in AEW. But if your biggest star does the same old shit every week, then AEW will have the same old ceiling, if not worse. Unlike WWE, AEW sells its tickets based on its stars, not the brand. Unfortunately, AEW's roster is filled with characters who don't feel hot. Its hottest star right now, the returning MJF, is doing the same gimmick fans have already seen time and again. Fans don't have as much incentive to watch Dynamite or even show up to the building if they know exactly what they're going to get from Mordecai. It's one of the reasons why every Dynamite in the States sells like a Ja Rule concert if 50 Cent bought half the tickets. MJF has literally had zero evolution in AEW. And the 1 year he portrayed a different character, it was really just smoke and mirrors, where in hindsight, the MJF character didn't change at all. In 2023, MJF turned babyface. He was a wrestling-ass wrestler. He exchanged promos for shoulder surgery. But before all that, the MJF character got so over, he was cheered at live events. And AEW had no choice but to turn him babyface alongside equally charismatic babyface Adam Cole. MJF turned face, but his character stayed the same. It was the same MJF with the same Burberry scarf, the same Dynamite diamond ring, the same designer suits, and even the same catchphrase. Because MJF didn't evolve, the fans did. AEW's adult fan base inevitably took a liking to MJF cheating to win and gleefully leaned into his scumbag ways. In fact, the rallying cry for babyface MJF was, "He's our scumbag." The more MJF played MJF, the more he was cheered. Max didn't have to change one thing, and he didn't. When MJF returned from injury in 2024, he teased becoming AEW's top white meat babyface. This time, he was a walking WWE reference by dressing up exactly like Triple H when he returned.
I was actually excited for this run, but then he just became a heel again.
Bad bitch.
Like, literally, when I saw him with that, with the whole shit, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. Something different, like something new. He went right back to being a freaking heel, and I'm like, dude, what was the point?
Tattoo like an OF creator being flown out to Miami.
Wait,
with
what?
Just a few weeks dressing up exactly like Triple H when he returned in 2002. MJF even got an AEW bad bitch tattoo like an OF creator being flown out to Miami. But just a few weeks later, MJF turned heel, and he was right back to being Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Even in that brief moment where he pretended to be AEW's conquering simp, Max leaned into one of his biggest motifs. While wearing Triple H's gear in an AEW ring, MJF was who we thought he was, a WWE guy in AEW. MJF never shies away from WWE references. He himself seems like he'd be better off under the TKO banner. Max thrives on undeniable star power. He relies on character work and promos. That makes him a horrible fit in AEW, where their strategy is high-risk wrestling, limited storytelling, and a shit ton of imaginary belts. MJF's first contract built up to the bidding war of 2024, a reference to the idea that he might jump ship to WWE.
I hated when he did that so much.
As his AEW contract neared its end, MJF teased going up north and signing with his buddies Triple H and Nick Khan in the Fed. This made AEW look minor league. The literal story they were telling is their biggest star might leave them for a bigger and better corporation.
I hated that
of course, MJF stayed put, and that was the right decision at the time. AEW was still hot, MJF was in a good position, and he could have gotten lost in the shuffle in WWE, where he'd basically be a less famous Miz. CM Punk's words and mine. But to this day, MJF uses WWE as a bargaining chip, and his promos always seem to suggest that the Fed is where the big boys play. His latest WWE reference buried Swerve Strickland for flopping in WWE and landing in a smaller pond where he became a bigger star. Putting it like that just makes AEW look worse because it's true. Swerve got fired in WWE shortly after being called up from NXT, only to land in AEW where he became that NIG. Let's go. Most MJF storylines are reality-based, from his villain origin story of being bullied by anti-Semitic classmates to his failed engagement.
Remember how excited you were when Junior finally went off to college? Well, now
AEW is so devoid of creativity, all their stories have to be based on somebody's reality because Tony Khan is far more interested in matchmaking. Until MJF pulled up, AEW was getting ready to do a world title triple threat match on pay-per-view between Joe, Swerve, and the Hangman. That's exactly what they did last year at Revolution. AEW keeps running in circles because they value star ratings over storylines. And the longer MJF languishes as the same character in a struggling promotion, the more sense it'll make for him to leave the territory. One of the most realistic stories MJF has ever told is the bidding war of 2024. MJF does seem like a better fit in WWE. With Miz retiring sooner rather than later, probably at the hands of Gunther like everybody else, MJF wouldn't have to worry about his more famous counterpart stepping on his gimmick by the time he's ready to force his way out of AEW. Because I think MJF in WWE is inevitable. The closest thing resembling an update to the MJF character is he's now openly calling himself a movie star. As much as he was the same MJF, he made sure to wear sunglasses indoors so you knew he was a somebody. Yep. Of course, the real-life MJF starred in Happy Gilmore, which set a streaming record with almost 47 million views in its first 3 days. MJF is a legit aspiring movie star, and any wrestler who wants to cross over into acting will be in the biggest movies with the snap of a finger, all thanks to WWE and TKO. Zootopia 2 featured both Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Shout to friend of the show, Nick LaPiccolo. Street Fighter 2 will feature Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and a cast filled with combat sports athletes and actors connected to TKO. Every great worker has their mind on their next move, and MJF is no exception. He's keeping this character intact, not because he can't evolve, but because, like many top AEW stars before him, MJF is openly auditioning for WWE. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. MJF and Adam Cole once made magic together, and for more on that storyline, check out this video.
So, it's a nice little vid. I like it. You know, me personally, I don't like the MJF character. I made that very clear in previous videos and shit. I'll say this, do I see him going to WWE? Yes, but thing is, I don't think he'll be as successful as people think he would. And what I mean by that, I don't mean like accomplishment-wise. I do think maybe they'll give him one world title. I see him more as a mid-carder or a higher mid-carder at best. That's just my opinion. And the reason why is because the reason why it does work for some people is because he gets away with a lot of shit in AEW. He can say fucked up shit. He can freaking basically throw a drink at a kid, which he did, flip off. He can say so much crazy shit. Whereas the WWE, if a crowd chants "Holy shit," they're literally muting that shit. They're like, and keep in mind, I'm pretty sure when they announced the Netflix deal, they said, "Oh, that's not gonna happen anymore." That shit's still happening. So that's the only issue. But we'll see how this goes, man. I'm just not a fan of MJF. I don't think I ever will be. But I am interested to see how this next title reign of his goes. And yeah, shout out to Samoa Joe. Wish he had a longer reign, but hey, man, at least he had 2 reigns, so that's good. And yeah, let me know what y'all think about MJF. Let me know what other videos y'all want me to do and react to. And I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.